As a well-spent day brings happy sleep, so life well used brings happy death. Every now and then, go away. Have a little relaxation, for when you come back to your work, your judgment will be surer. Go some distance away, because then the work appears smaller, and more of it can be taken in at a glance, and a lack of harmony and proportion is more readily seen. The time will come when men such as I will look upon the murder of animals as they now look on the murder of men. The artist sees what others only catch a glimpse of. Iron rusts from disuse, stagnant water loses its purity, and in cold weather becomes frozen. Even so does inaction sap the vigors of the mind. In rivers, the water that you touch is the last of what has passed and the first of that which comes, so with present time. The acquisition of knowledge is always of use to the intellect, because it may thus drive out useless things and retain the good. For nothing can be loved or hated unless it is first known. Anyone who conducts an argument by appealing to authority is not using his intelligence, he is just using his memory. As every divided kingdom falls, so every mind divided between many studies confounds and saps itself. Men of lofty genius, when they are doing the least work, are most active. To develop a complete mind, study the science of art, study the art of science, learn how to see, realize that everything connects to everything else. The function of a muscle is to pull and not to push, except in the case of the genitals and the tongue. As you cannot do what you want what you can do. Our life is made by the death of others. Study without desire spoils the memory, and it retains nothing that it takes in. There are three classes of people: those who see when they are shown, and those who do not see. I awoke only to find that the rest of the world was still asleep. Principles for the development of a complete mind: study the science of art, study the art of science, develop your senses, especially learn how to see, realize that everything connects to everything else. Obstacles cannot crush me. Every obstacle yields to stern resolve. I love those who can smile in trouble, who can gather strength from distress, and grow brave by reflection. 'Tis the business of little minds to shrink, but they whose heart is firm and whose conscience approves their conduct will pursue the principles unto death. I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do. Experience never errs. It is only your judgments that err by promising themselves effects such as are not caused by your experiments. There are four powers: memory and intellect, desire and covetousness. The two first are mental and the other sensual. The three senses, sight, hearing, and smell, cannot well be prevented. Touch and taste, not at all. If you are alone, you belong entirely to yourself. If you are accompanied by even one companion, you belong only half to yourself, or even less in proportion to the thoughtlessness of his conduct. And if you have more than one companion, you will fall more deeply into the same plight. If you find from your own experience that something is a fact, and it contradicts what some authority has written down, then you must abandon the authority and base your reasoning on your own findings. Truly, man is the king of beasts, for his brutality exceeds them. We live by the death of others. We are burial places. Man has much power of discourse, which for the most part is vain and false. Animals have but little, but it is useful and true, and a small truth is better than a great lie. Those who, in debate, appeal to their qualifications argue from memory, not from understanding. The supreme misfortune is when theory outstrips performance. Men fight wars and destroy everything around them. The earth should open and swallow them up. He who does not value life does not deserve it. Never destroy another life through rage or through malice. The human bird shall take his first flight, filling the words with amazement, all writings with his fame, and bringing eternal glory to those who nest whence he sprang. The water you touch in a river is the last of that which has passed, and the first of that which is coming. Thus it is with time present. Life, if well spent, is long. A wave is never found alone, but is mingled with the other waves. The men of experiment are like the ant. They only collect and use. But the bee gathers its materials from the flowers of the garden and of the field, but transforms and digests it by a power of its own. Obstacles cannot crush me. Every obstacle yields to stern resolve. He who is fixed to a star does not change his mind. As a well-spent day gives joy in sleep, so a well-spent life brings joy in dying. People of accomplishment rarely sat back and let things happen to them. They went out and made things happen. Fix your course to a star and you can navigate through any storm. Those who fall in love with practice without science are like a sailor who enters a ship without a helm or a compass, and who never can be certain whither he is going. Although nature commences with reason and ends in experience, it is necessary for us to do the opposite. That is, to commence with experience, and from this to proceed to investigate the reason. Wisdom is the daughter of experience. Painting is poetry that is seen rather than felt, and poetry is painting that is felt rather than seen. A painter should begin every canvas with a wash of black, because all things in nature are dark except where exposed by the light. Art is the queen of all sciences, communicating knowledge to all the generations of the world. The painter has the universe in his mind and hands. Life without love is no life at all. Realize that everything connects to everything else. Art is never finished, only abandoned. An average human looks without seeing, listens without hearing, touches without feeling, eats without tasting, moves without physical awareness, inhales without awareness of odor or fragrance, and talks without thinking. Learning never exhausts the mind. I thought I was learning to live. I was only learning to die. Learn how to see. Realize that everything connects to everything else. The knowledge of all things is possible. Truth at last cannot be hidden. Dissimulation is of no avail. Dissimulation is to no purpose before so great a judge. Falsehood puts on a mask. Nothing is hidden under the sun. It is easier to resist at the beginning than at the end. All our knowledge has its origin in our perceptions. Make your work to be in keeping with your purpose. Water is the driving force in nature.